Punch Out. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 13-game slate on FanDuel, and there's a lot of good pitching. There's cores, and also, really just a lot of offenses to target. Overall, I feel like this is one of the better slates in a long time.
I agree. I like this. This is fun. We get some nice variety. It's kind of like having a nice garden where you just got a little bit of everything, you know? And it's like blooming, getting to that time of year. It's good times.
Yeah, it's exactly like a garden. Exactly like a garden.
Yeah. Yesterday was like you had those like flower like buckets and all the flowers were dead. That's kind of what it was like.
Yeah, with the pitching yesterday. And today is a luxury from what the pitching that we had yesterday.
Exactly.
So, Nationals and Phillies first here. Jake Thompson versus Tanner Rourke. I think the Nationals are going to be an interesting team to go about tonight because of cores, because of Blue Jays, because of the Red Sox. I kind of expect them to get a little bit lower ownership, but in that ballpark against Jake Thompson, who's allowed 21 earned runs and 4 starts in the majors, I think they're a solid team to target.
Yeah, certainly. I like Daniel Murphy and Harper and Cash. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately, but they've just been facing a lot of right-handed pitching. So what do you want me to do? So I think you feel pretty comfortable with that. I mean, obviously super expensive, but there are ways to pay down at pitching tonight, so I think you can make that work. Trey Turner, Jason Worth, Rendon, Ramos, sure. I'm cool with 1 through 6 here. I think you mostly want to focus on Harper Murphy, though.
Yeah, I like both those guys. Both of them are intriguing pay options. And same thing with Trey Turner. I mean, Trey Turner is a guy who is really tough to avoid right now. And there isn't really a ton of value. This is an expensive stack. It would be an expensive one-off. So I think that's also going to kind of hinge into the fact that it'll be a little bit lower owned.
I think you want at least 2 of these guys if you're playing them in a lineup. I don't really want standalone. If I'm going at these guys, I at least want 2.
Yeah, I could definitely see pairing myself up with, probably a Ramos just because of the value he brings, and maybe a Turner or a Harper and Murphy. I mean, there's a lot of different combinations you can go really 1 through 6.
Yeah.
As far as the Phillies go, I'm not really looking to use anyone here. I mean, some of these guys are pretty cheap, and while I'm not a big believer in Rourke, I do think he's going to have a decent outing. Odubel Herrera, Cesar Hernandez are probably both the only guys I'll really use. Outside of that, though, I'll probably stay away.
Yeah, I'm not a big Rourke guy either, and in terms of his upside, it's still a little limited. But I'm not touching this lineup tonight. I don't think. Maybe a Ryan Howard, but I think that's getting deep tournament wise only.
Yeah. Blue Jays and Orioles next year. Wade Miley versus Marco Estrada. And obviously, coming off a monster day for the Jays, I think in this ballpark, a lot of people are going to be jumping back on board, which obviously you kind of want to be just because Miley is not a good left-hander. A lot of these guys have a good track record off of him. So you could really make the case for all those guys there, but you do have to pay up for Dawson, Encarnacion. Bautista, Russell Martin, Tulowitzki still all certainly reasonable, though.
Yeah, day late and $1 short on Donaldson, though. Certainly not going to see the 3 homers today. But, yeah, got to love the potential of this Blue Jays team against Miley. Bautista, Encarnacion, Donaldson. I think Bautista's kind of the guy we're looking at here is in sort of the reasonable range. He's been cheaper than them, the Donaldson Encarnacion grouping, and he's been getting some hits, a double in 4 of the last 5 games. Certainly something to be optimistic about. I think that home run power will, come back potentially today. So I like that. I like Russell Martin. Tulowitzki is a nice price. So I think you can do a 1-4-5 and sort of get out of this lineup relatively cheap. And I mean, I don't know. I think that's a pretty interesting way to go.
It is certainly. And I mean, as far as expecting 3 home runs from Donaldson, I don't think that'll happen again. But could I see another monster game? I really could see another multi-home run game from Donaldson. I mean, we saw that with Betts. We saw that with Betts earlier on in the year. I mean, it's kind of like, oh, he's not that. He hit 3 homers and then what? 2 the next night. I mean, it's certainly a possibility. And I think he's going to be one of the chalkier third basemen to pay up for, which is completely fine. Just because Miley is home run prone, great ballpark to hit in. It's certainly worth the pay up.
Oh, certainly worth the pay up. I'm not saying that. I just think Bautista, Martin, and Tulo are like kind of very, very interesting values in that lineup. And I think you can sort of, manage, some other high-end options if you still want to get exposure to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. As far as the Orioles go, um, I do like them. I like them in a tournament sense. I mean, I like Trumbo, I like Davis in the GPP format. Machado 4-1 certainly intriguing, but I think I do rather spend to Donaldson for 300 more.
Yep, agreed. Certainly like the Blue Jays more if you're comparing that. But overall, yeah, I mean, we've kind of seen Estrada, especially in his last start, kind of fall apart there. So this is certainly a lineup that can do that to a pitcher.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at Estrada. I mean, he's a guy who regression has been kind of coming for a long time, and this could be a
Mm,
matchup where it's really shown.
yep, for sure. Hunsu
Right.
Kim, nice value at 32.
Yeah, it definitely is if you're looking to get a value outfielder in that one. Red Sox and
Mm.
Rays next here. Matt Andrees versus Rick Porcello. Sox certainly coming around as far as the bats are going. I mean, hard not to like, obviously Ortiz and Mookie Betts as high-priced options. Outside of that, though, I mean, Bogart's a little expensive for my taste. I mean, Brock Holt, 2,800, obviously leading off is a decent opportunity for some value filling in for Pedroia. Outside of that, though, I mean, I think if I am, it's just more one-offs here as far as the big bats go.
Yeah, like I don't mind Matt Andrees. Like I feel like he's kind of like not bad, Not someone I'm targeting outright. Obviously always potential with this Red Sox group, but in terms of pricing, it's tough to figure out one guy where a value really stands out. Obviously, you mentioned Brock Holt, 28. Travis Shaw, 26, I'm okay with. But overall, it's kind of just like a mishmash. I love the stack. I think that's where the value is here. Grouping them together and hoping it figures itself out.
Yeah, that's certainly something. And, Jackie Bradley Jr. is struggling right now. I mean, that's kind of a bummer with him, but I don't mind him in a GPP format. I expect him to kind of move back up into the top half of the lineup, at least around 6 or 7. So I'd be okay with him if he does that.
Yep.
As far as the Rays go, they really haven't had any good success against Porcello. Porcello's been great at home, and the prices really aren't low enough for me to target. I think this next game that we're about to get to has really more of the mid-value prices we're looking for.
No, yeah, and Kiermaier, Miller are usually my suggestions when we look at righties versus the Rays, but overall, this isn't a matchup to use Rays. I like Porcello quite a bit here, and I think that's the move you're making with Porcello, borderline cash guy, potential cash guy for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. Twins and Indians next year. Trevor Bauer versus Hector Santiago. Obviously, this Indians offense in Texas really kind of faded out, but back at home, I do like them here. I mean, Santiago's a guy who hasn't done well coming over from the Twins. Really home run prone, 1.74 homes per 9 to righties. I really like some of these prices as far as some upside goes. I mean, Rajai Davis at 33 is certainly reasonable. Napoli 34, I like. Even Lindor at 34. I think those are actually really intriguing prices.
Yeah, 7 home runs allowed in his last 4 outings, so that's certainly a positive indicator for Mike Napoli there. I think he's a cash game guy. I think you like a lot of these prices. Lindor at 34, even a Brandon Guyer at 29. So, yeah, I think this is definitely with Napoli involved in a Indian stack. I think this is a nice little grouping for sure.
Yeah, I do too. And even on the Twins side, I mean, you look at Bauer. I mean, the Twins have gotten to Bauer a couple times already this season. And obviously, Dozier's your most expensive guy, but I don't mind a Miguel Sano still. I don't mind a Plouffe for Kepler. I mean, certainly reasonable GPP options. And Bauer's been really kind of prone to those blowups and can be a little bit home run prone as well. So I think it's kind of a high risk, high reward with some of these Twins guys.
Yeah, I think that, them being projected for 3.5 runs is a little deceiving to me. I do like the lefties. I'm even okay with a Joe Mauer at 31. So Mauer Kepler, I like that quite a bit as sort of, like you mentioned, a tournament move.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we always know that upside certainly there. And I think on a 13-game slate, you are going to catch him at pretty low ownership.
Yeah.
White Sox and Tigers next year. Matt Boyd versus James Shields. And this Tigers offense, I mean, it was a bummer, really, for them. But you got to expect them to back it up here against James Shields. I mean, this is something that, one, they've always hit him well. Now you're looking, at Shields, who's really been struggling. I think the Tigers are going to be a popular play tonight.
This is where it all began. I mean, not really, but like for Shields, this was the first game I was like, whoa, what's happening here? When he just got ransacked by the Tigers. So that's probably going to happen again. I mean, honestly, I don't see how he gives up less than 6 runs to this Tigers team. I just feel like they have his number. So Cabrera, Kinsler, Maben, Martinez, both of them upped in. I'm firing away with all of them. All under 4K. Let's do this. All cash game viable. Fire them off like 4th of July, like fireworks. We're going in.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up right there. I mean, 1 through 6, I think you can make a case in all formats. I'm certainly in agreement. I mean, Shields has been banged up by both sides of the plate. Home run prone. Tigers, I mean, sitting at a 6-run total. So I'm certainly okay with firing away there.
Yeah. I think sometimes when, a group of hitters gets a pitcher's number, it's just all over,
Yeah, it certainly is. And on the White Sox side, I mean, 2 guys I don't mind, Jose Abreu and Todd Frazier, but more GPP swerves. But obviously you look at Matt Boyd, come off a couple decent starts, but overall you go back to last year, 1.97 home runs per 9 to righties. Abreu's been swinging the bat well. Todd Frazier still has solid numbers against lefties this year. That's about it for me, though.
Yeah, certainly not as exciting as even the last few matchups for them. So I'm okay with Jose Abreu. I like that matchup for him. Tim Anderson at 26 is all right, but yeah, for the most part, I think I'm cooling off on my White Sox exposure compared to the last few days.
Yeah, I definitely am. I mean, I do think they maybe put up a couple runs, but I don't think there's going to be anything that's really crazy goes on there.
Mm-hmm. I think they're kind of like the redheaded stepchild compared to the Tigers' offense in this game for sure.
No, they definitely are. Marlins and Mets next year. Rafael Montero versus Jose Fernandez. This one, that Mets lineup could be really decimated if Walker and Cespedes aren't in the lineup. But I'm really just not looking at this game at all for offense.
I don't think there's any need to. I mean, D. Gordon at 29 kind of piques my interest, but and that's Pique, not Peaks for you English fans out there. Anyway, yeah, other than D. Gordon, I don't have much interest in this game at all. Obviously, you're not targeting Mets tonight. I don't care what you're drinking, smoking, or putting into yourself. You're not touching the Mets tonight.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. And as far as the Marlins go, I mean, I usually like Yelich, but I don't at that price tag.
Right.
Cardinals and Brewers next year, Zach Davies versus Carlos Martinez. And as far as the Brewers go, I'm not really looking to use them here. At their prices, I feel like you can kind of go on a lot of other options.
This is a Carlos Martinez game. Going to be a lot of strikeouts here, I think. I feel fairly confident in Carlos Martinez tonight against the Brewers. I feel relatively confident with any pitcher against the Brewers, but I feel like this is a really good matchup for him just based on how the Brewers are hitting and striking out. So he's a cash game option for me. Not touching any Brewers tonight.
No, I'm not either. And Cardinals side, I mean, you look at Davies, he's had some decent starts. Overall, pretty average against left-handers. For me, I'm just going to be limiting my exposure with the Cardinals as I've kind of been doing of late. Second half Cardinals hasn't really been the most exciting, but you can make a case for Carpenter and Moss. As far as the righties go, I'm not really looking to get a ton of exposure, even though Davies is kind of just your average right-hander.
I just based on, obviously you have to base it on the splits and what the matchup is versus the pitcher, but just based on their second half, it feels like they're a little boom bust to me, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable with them in cash, but as tournaments are concerned, I mean, we've seen some huge games from Carpenter and Moss, so certainly viable there as a mini stack. I like that. Piscotty's okay, but I think I just like the mini stack of Carpenter Moss in tournaments.
Yeah, I definitely do too. Pirates and Cubs next year, Jake Arrieta versus Steven Brault. And for me, I was right off those flaggards. I mean, I'm not looking to use anyone here.
Yeah, we get to fire away against the old Pirates there after being forced to, have exposure to them in like 7 straight slates. This is nice. We'll see you later, Pirates. Arietta.
Uh, I'm sure you're
Woo!
excited, as I can tell, just because.
Very excited.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
looking at the Cubs here, I mean, they're in a good spot against the lefty. I mean, I like Fowler, I like Bryant, I even like Rizzo, and you can even toss in Zobrist. I mean, expensive stack option, but I do like the Pirates here or the Cubs here quite a bit. And even at Contreras or Javier Baez, I don't mind.
What is Zobrist, the hunchback from Notre Dame or something? Just throwing him in there like a casual cam.
I like all these guys. I mean, there's a reason
Good.
why the Cubs are one of the top teams against lefties, and especially tough road trip in Dodgers. I mean, they didn't score a ton of runs, and I expect them to kind of bounce back in a big way.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I do like Zobrist though. So Zobrist Fowler, I think that's an interesting way to go. And then Chris Bryant, obviously, in cash.
Chris Bryant's well. How you fitting Donaldson and Chris Bryant in there?
I'm going Bryant over Donaldson tonight. Hot take.
Ooh, yeah, I definitely think that's going to be an interesting swerve off of Donaldson is Bryant. I think he's the guy who I'd like to do it with.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, I mean, expect when the Cubs run total to come out, I expect it to be over 5.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely rising as the day goes on for sure.
Yeah. Mariners and Rangers next year. Yu Darvish versus Hisashi Iwakuma. I'm not really looking to use Mariners bats. I mean, sure, Darvish has given up a couple home runs over throughout his starts, but it's not something I'm looking to dive into.
Yeah, that Reds game was kind of a bummer, but overall, he's still a great pitcher. So I'm not going at Mariners lately. And this is another start where I don't think you should really, I don't think it's a Cano Seager type of night with Darvish on the hill. So I'm avoiding that for now.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, as far as the Rangers go, I don't mind them here at some of their prices. I mean, Iwakuma in this ballpark, I don't see him having a ton of success, and I think the Rangers are going to be a little bit overlooked. But I actually think some of those guys are definitely cash game viable, and pretty much 1 through 6 are all GPP worthy.
Yeah, Beltran, pretty interesting combination there. Mazzara, I don't mind some of the cheaper guys, especially the lefties in this lineup.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, you look at what Texas has done against Iwakuma; they've hit him at a decent rate, and in that ballpark, he has certainly struggled. So, definitely a stay away for Iwakuma, and I think you can fit some Rangers bats in.
Absolutely.
Next here, you got the A's and Astros: Joe Musgrove versus Sean Manaea. Certainly, two guys for the A's, as we always kind of look at, and that's Stephen Vogt and Chris Davis. I mean, both at really nice price tags. And if Musgrove continues the trend that he's shown over the last 2 starts, I mean, I think those are guys that can certainly get to him.
Yeah, they certainly can. I like Vada as a cash game guy if you are paying up elsewhere. So obviously against righties, you're always firing away with him. But overall, I don't like this for either side. I just feel like this is a gray area spot where I don't think either side has a true advantage. So I'm probably not going at Musgrove or a. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely see that. I mean, this game is certainly one where you want to like it, but you kind of look at what the Astros have done against lefties. It's been very average. I don't mind Evan Gattis. I don't mind Bregman for those prices at 3,400. And you look at Manaea. I mean, Manaea does serve up the long ball quite a bit. So that is something I can see maybe a one-off. But as far as the stack goes, I might be holding off on Houston. But I do think there's still viable one-off options.
I have a very different view on Houston, I guess. I think there is quite a bit upside there. I'm just speaking to the A's and Musgrove. I want to like Musgrove, but I just can't after the last 2 starts,
Yeah, no, I think he's trending downwards. I mean,
yeah.
Although this A's team isn't really that great against righties, I mean, there's still
They can still chip
there.
Yeah, they can chip away in bad matchups. So, as far as the Astros go, I agree. Springer Correa a little overpriced for my taste. I think if you want to go with a stack, it's Bregman, Altuve, Gattis. I think that's a great way to get exposure against Manaea.
Yeah, for a cheaper price tag too, which certainly helps out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, overall, I mean, I think the Astros are a team you can look at, but in comparison to guys like the Blue Jays, the Indians at their prices, Tigers. I think they do kind of fall a little bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Next game here, you got the Yankees and Royals. Dylan G versus Michael Pineda. This one I don't like really at all for hitting. I mean, or pitching. I just don't like this game in general. I think it's one because of the ballpark. There's never really a ton of runs scored in Kauffman. Guys like Gardner and kind of Teixeira, I mean, and all those names, McCann, Castro, they all hit better at home. So I think on the road here, I'm just kind of fading the Yankees, and I'm not really looking to pick on Pineda either, even though he's not a great arm.
Gary Sanchez is 4K.
Well, it's because he has 60 homers in the last 12 days.
I have not knocked. I'm not knocking it whatsoever. I might even play him. I'm just saying, like, unbelievable. We need to take a moment out of every pod, at least to acknowledge the amazingness until this run stops, which it eventually will. But yeah, I mean, I don't see how, as a high-end catcher option, I mean, he's still certainly in play, right?
For me, I think this is the night where I think he's out of play. I think the price has kind of forced me to just move away. I can't on a slate like tonight. I can't pay 4K for Sanchez when I can pay 4K for Dodgers, when I can pay 4K for Blue Jays or Tigers.
Do you think the ownership will be down because he's 4K?
Oh, I certainly think it will, but I don't even think it's going to be one of those ones where I make the pivot because his ownership's down.
Interesting. All right, fair enough. I appreciate that take. As far as the rest of the lineup goes, I think you're certainly looking at Brett Gardner here. I mean, Aaron Hicks at 26 is a nice value. Other than that, though, I'm not getting too excited about that lineup.
As far as the Royals go, I mean, are you in on anyone?
Nah, not tonight. I don't see the upside. I kind of like Pineda, not a ton, but I think he's good enough to sort of neutralize a lot of this team. Maybe a Hosmer at 31.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, they are values, so if you do need a kind of a one-off value, I guess that's kind of where they would fall into for me.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers and Rockies next year. Kenta Maeda versus John Gray. Kenta Maeda has actually pitched well in Coors and has pitched well against the Rockies. So as far as targeting them at their price tags, they actually rank behind a lot of offenses for me, even them being at home.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, Maeda is a guy who limits damage for the most part. I still think Blackman and Cargo are in play. They're just super expensive. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of tough to get a lot of exposure to these prices with sort of the Blue Jays, sitting right there.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Tigers, Dodgers, Blue Jays, I mean, the Rockies still all kind of rank below them for me. And well, I think obviously, I mean, they are still in play. Guys like David Dahl, Cargo, Arenado, Blackman, I think they're all just kind of GPP moves, but I'm not getting a ton of exposure. It'll probably just be one lineup where I maybe work them in.
Right, exactly.
So as far as the Dodgers go, I mean, obviously Gray is a guy who's certainly going through his growing pains of pitching in Coors, and does have those down starts where he does get blown up. But I like some of these prices in the back end. I mean, I think Gonzalez and Grandal at 36 is certainly reasonable for lefties in Coors, and even a Reddick, even though he's struggling, I'll take a look at 35, hoping that Coors can kind of get him right on the back track.
Yep, I think that's a nice gamble tonight. Every night against a righty isn't a good gamble for Reddick, but I think this is a nice, cushy situation for him to succeed. So I do like that. Adrian Gonzalez, hey, listen, bud, I don't want any problems. I'm cool with you. Certainly in play at 36. And obviously Corey Seager, I mean, that's a pay up, but he is one of the top pay up options in my opinion tonight.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I don't even mind the Justin Turner at 3,900. I think that's certainly reasonable too.
Mm-hmm.
So, Reds and Angels next year. Matt Schumacher versus Dan Straley. This is another one I don't like the prices for some of those Reds guys. I mean, you can make a case for Billy Hamilton at 3K or even a Duvall. But I don't see myself getting a lot of exposure to this game. I think in that ballpark with these two arms, I think it's going to be pretty low scoring.
Yuck. That doesn't taste good. That was my imitation of a dog eating grass, and then that move I'm talking about, and then they like choke on some of the grass. That was what I was doing there.
Well done.
It's pretty good, right?
I'm glad that acting camp really paid off for you, Russell.
Many years of watching and learning from the animal kingdom.
Yeah. Well done. Well done.
Yes. Anyway, Votto still in play at 4K, but certainly not a cash game option, or probably even in my top 3 of value based first baseman tonight. Schumacher's pitched pretty well, at home. So I don't know that I'm going at this Reds team. As far as the Angels go, I'm not counting out Trout, that's for sure. I'm not counting out Calhoun. Like, I don't mind the top 3, but I don't know, man. I don't want to do it. I'm not doing Angels tonight.
No, I'm not either. I mean, I can't stand the Angels. I can't stand them when they're at home. They're just an offense I just don't like to target. They're boring. Sure, you might hit on a Mike Trout homer, but there's still a lot of other homers to be had at cheaper prices.
They just ruin slates for me when they get those 6-run games, because it's like that's their absolute ceiling, but it's like it's still enough to where anyone who got exposure.
Hey, I remember them scoring like 20 plus in Fenway, not like a few months ago there. So you know what?
On a normal night,
yeah,
it's like 6 runs.
Bad.
It's just enough to where Pujols is killing you in tournaments. Trout is killing you because someone's owning him in the outfield. So like they are valuable pieces. I won't deny that. And if they do hit, it's like really strong in tournaments. Because again, the way we reacted, it's like nobody wants to play Angels, honestly. So interesting tournament move, but I just don't. I don't want to do it tonight.
No, I definitely agree. With all the other offenses on board, I can fade Angels and sleep in peace.
Yeah.
So that's going to wrap things up with the FanDuel Punch Out. Be sure to check out DaveFantasyCafe.com for all great tools and content.